Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Alan. Just before we proceed, um, can we make sure everyone follows Alan on Twitch that's in here that watches Twitch? Just watching some of his vids. Kid can play, but he needs more follows.
No,
Thank
it's
you.
fine. I just do this for the recording of the raid and for reviewing later, just to get the performance and feedback
No,
on
no,
what we have.
that's a very kind thing to say and adorable and very humble. But everyone needs to follow you. The vids are good. The vids are really good,
And if
especially
you
the
didn't
healers.
notice, Alan just shared his screen in Discord, so he's
Yeah,
streaming something.
I'm going to the general tips in my healing guide. Is
Oh,
general tips on what we need to pay attention during the raid and the general things in the builds as well. So the first topic is the ult game. So our entire raid group comp is built by generating ultimate fast by the arcases. We have 7 in group. All healers have arcases, so you don't need to save at all. In the main parts of the raid, save your ult. Just dish out when you're ready, and every time you need a shield, you need to cast it. So you get the ultimate back in 30 seconds in average. The next part is the group focus. So in your screen, you should see most of the group members, and because the your skills are some target focus, such as the blessing of restoration, they need to be in front of you. So it's always a good tip to have the most people in your front. So the average cash is higher when you hit a lot of people. Next part is the burst heal situations. So most of your skills that are AoE and you can cast around you or uh, in your target is nice to have it ready when you are in the burst heal burst focus of the DD. So when the crown is ready to attack, you can preemptively cast your burst heal in the crown, so they get heal right away when the enemy gets focusing them. And the next part is the heal over time. So you just need to keep those skills running every time you have a chance. So I can go over the rotation after. So basically, your radiant regeneration and echo vigor is your main skills. Basically, your echo vigor is the main focus you need to pay attention for, because it's the most effective AoE healing skills. So the next part is the ground effect. It basically we have. I can go over each build I have here, but healing springs, they are not here for the heal, but basically for the magical return. So you can keep spamming more skills because you have this going, and it's good for the heal as well, but not significantly as the other skills you have. And the rare cases, you need to pay attention every time it is available for the proc. All the healing builds have the rare cases backbard, so you need to change the backbard and proc it every time you are in combat. It will generate 43 ult for you and 2 more people, 2 or 3, I don't remember, and 63 if you are Nightblade because of the Catalyst passive. And all healers have the Snow Treaders, so will be immune to snares and mobilization, so you don't need to spend your stamina dodging those skills to keep up with crown. So at least you have the to save some stamina if not using the rolls and the break free. For the first build we have here is the Warden, and we can go over some of the passes they have and some of the placements they have in the bar. First we have the Symphony of Blades set. So if your group member is under 50% of the primary resource, they will have received the Meridia's favor. You can see in the logs as well. They restore Magicka or Stamina for 6 seconds. Um, in the cooldown is 18 seconds per target. So this is a nice Stamina or Magicka return. Arcasis every healer has. Keep proccing for every 30 seconds because of the enchantments we have in the build to reduce the potion cooldown is minus 15 seconds. And the other set we have for the Warden is the Lamia. So this is a nice restore for health, magic, and stamina per ultimate spent. So this is a very nice resource generator in in our group. So we don't need to spend much resources in Magicka recovery. Most of the stamina and Magicka we can gain back is from this set. So it's really nice if the Warden, I think it's the Templar. Yeah, the Templar is the other build that has Lamia, so you can keep casting roads and returning some of the Magicka back for you and the other players. For the let me see. For animal companions, we use Blueberry. Is the Warden Magicka return? It's a little nice, and the other part is the Major Sorcery for 25 seconds, and this is remove cleansing for the negative effects. Is that it has a passive of 5 seconds, removing one negative effect, and if you cast, it removes as well. So it's really nice to have Blueberry. I personally use in the front bar because I like to have the Flourish passive in my front bar because of the stamina and Magicka recovery increasing by 12%. So we can change Blueberry instead of Blinding Flare and put Blinding Flare in the back bar. So you'll be at least more tankier in the back bar. And you can cast your Shimmery Shield to have another shield on top of it to be more tanky in the back bar. The other skill tree we have is the Green Balance, and we can take advantage of the accelerated growth by if we have a person under 40% of health, you gain major mending. So this is increases a lot of your healing potential by 16% for 4 seconds. And the skill we have in this tree is the enchanted growth. This is your burst heal. This is your class burst heal instead of the weapon for restoration staff, the blessing of restoration. So when we use this, we can take advantage of this nature gift passive, restoring a little bit of the Magicka by cast. And the other good advantage is the Emerald Moss. We can go up to 4% having those two skills slotted in the front bar, so we can have 4% healing done. And the maturation, this is the best use of the ward in the group. We have the minor toughness in every time, increase your max health by 10%. This is a level 1. I think this was because of the previous set we had, the transmutation. But since this changed, we can keep this in level 2. It's for 20 seconds. For back bar, we have in the Winter Embrace is the Shimmer Shield. So this is a nice skill to always have up. Is a 20k in this tooltip, 20k shield damage, blocking from 3 projectiles, and this is a really nice to have. You can always hear when the shield break, and if you hear the shield breaking, you can mate and gain major harries for 6 seconds. Is really nice. And in the back bar we have as well the expensive Frost Cloak. This is a major skill to have an eye on. You need to have the uptime for this. The good uptime is at least 90% in the logs. Is a major result for the group, so everyone can take advantage of this. Is a big radius, 36 meters. So this is the overall skills to have in the Warden. The old cost here is 270, but if you use the, I think the tooltip is not updated, but for the Bastion, is it the Bastion? Effectiveness. No, it's Shield Master. It's reduced 10% of your cost. This is affecting your barriers, so this will at least remove some of the points to have it cheaper, so you can spend more. I remember in the here in the blue CP we have this last CP for sight. This is, I think, for all classes. After you drink a potion, you have 75 reduction for 6 seconds on your stamina and magical healing abilities. So this is really nice. Is I think 20% of uptime if you have the 30 seconds cooldown, and then you have 6 seconds of foresight of these 30 seconds on in your potion chugging. So you don't have much problem with sustain using foresight CP and getting Lamia from Warden and Templar in your group. The next build we have is the Decay, and the main skill to have an eye on is the Igneous weapon, because this is the main source of major brutality and sorcery in group. And this is a very long duration, 6 seconds, so you just need to keep an eye on to cast every now and then, but don't drop it. This is a really powerful skill to have in group and have it up all the time. The other skill that you need to focus is the Fragmented Shield. This will give you major mending for 16% for 8 seconds, and this will proc as well the, let me see here, Mountain's Blessing passive. So this will give minor brutality for the entire group for 20 seconds. So this is the passive you need to keep spamming between those two skills. So you have the minor and major brutality for the entire group basically 100% of the time if you keep those two skills up all the time. Your burst skill is the Blessing of Restoration. As I said, you need to be at least half of the group in front of you to be most effective. So you don't need to be in the front glued in the crown, you just need to be offset a little bit, so you can not take that damage from the other group as well. And the other class skill we have in here is from the Cauterize or the Ardent Flame skill 3 is Cauterize, and this is because of the passive while slotted. This is the bottom part. You gain Magic Prophecy and Savage at all times, increasing your spell critical a lot. So this is a nice skill to nice heal to have as well for every 5 seconds burst healing, but for the main part is for this back bars passive. And always to have an eye on Echoing Vigor. This is a really nice skill. Looking through logs, this is the main skill healers have as the main part of their healing in the entire log. So always cast it if we have stamina for it. It's always nice to cast Quick Cloak every 30 seconds to have the major evasion uptime a lot. And for the major expedition, this is covered by the rapids in our group. So this is basically for the major expedition every 3 seconds. This would reduce your damage income a lot. Let me go through a little bit in the passives. I know we have in here the Battle Roar. This is a nice skill to, or nice passive return when you have the casting ults a lot. You'll see in the logs when the resource tab for the magic and health return. This is basically the main skill that returns your magic and stamina. It's because your skills, your barrier will be 200 or 300 cost. This will multiply the amount of the return, and this will proc first every time. So basically you have full magic and stamina after ulting. So this is a really nice magic return for your build. For SAS we have Ozizan. So they have two parts. The overhealing part, we gain armor, and for normal healing we gain Minor Vitality. So this is a really nice, if you are really active in the raid, your uptime for those two parts will be a lot. And the other set is after Arcasis is Spell Parkour. So this will be up every time when you cast a skill, because we overheal a lot because of our shielding. So this is a really nice major courage source for 5 seconds for the entire group. So if you keep up the Echoing Vigor for the entire group, they will be overhealing a lot because of the constant shielding we have. I think this is it for the passives of the... Yeah, here we have Helping Hands, is a really nice stamina return for the decay. So if you cast Igneous Weapons and Fragmented Shield, you are gaining stamina back, so this will fill up your Echoing Vigor. So it's a really nice cycling cast of the skills. Don't ever drop Igneous Weapons. Cast Echoing Vigor every 2 or 3 times in your rotation, and have it Fragmented Shield for a lot of people. This I think will hit, I don't know how many people this get hit. I don't know if it's 6 or 4.
Frag shield is 6.
Okay, so I'll have it up. And Radiating Regeneration is a really nice skill. I think all healers have. So this is not a burst skill. This is a heal over time for 10 seconds. The Echoing Vigor is for 16 seconds. That's why this is more efficient, hitting 6 people around you. And this only hit 3 people. So you can see in the logs if you have radiant regeneration and agri vigor at the same percentages, we'll notice the double of cast needed to have the radiating regeneration close to the echoing vigor. So if you have like 200 casts of radiating regeneration and echoing vigor, you see echoing vigor will have the double healing amount. So this is the difference you need to focus in the two skills. It different usages, but different amount of healing output and different situations. So always keep echoing vigor up and casting regenerating in your rotation. But if one of these skills you need to pay attention more, have echoing vigor more, because this will give a lot of uptime and people get hit and healing amount as well. For the next build we have the Arcanist. They the main skill is chakram. You can see in the logs they are the standoff of shielding. They have two entries of in the logs. The first one is for the normal shielding, and the second part is when a person is already shielded and you cast it again, this will override and count again. So, and a good passive of the Arcanist is intricate rune forms that increase your strength and reduce your cost by 20% of the shield. So this is a really nice passive to have when you are basically focused on the shielding. So between Chakram of Destiny and Replenish Barrier, your barrier potential grows a lot, allied with the Shield Master reducing cost and Bastion increasing your effectiveness by 15%. So your barriers hit a lot, and between those two skills. For the other class skills in the Arcanist, we have Reconstructive Domain. The main use of these skills is not for Fortitude, Intellect, and Endurance, because this is covered better by the Templar. This is for minor courage. You have increase in 215 spell damage and spell weapon or weapon damage, and this heals for a bit, but the main part is for minor courage, and this will proc as well the, let me see if I, is the minor evasion for 20 seconds every time you cast a skill. So this will basically have 100% uptime if you are active in the raid between your Reconstructive Domain, Chakram, and Cruxweaver Armor. Casting those skills will always proc the minor evasion in groups, so they will receive 10% less damage. For the Cruxweaver Armor, the main part here is applying minor breach when you take damage, reducing the armor of the attacker by almost 3,000. And this as well regenerates Crux, but you'll be max Crux in the entire raid unless you die, because you don't have in this build, this current build, the Crux consumption. We only have generators between Chakram of Destiny and Cruxweaver Armor. So this you won't take full advantage of the Warden, the Arcanist passive. By example, this passive you only get for 7 seconds when you generate. Once you are 3 cruxes, you don't generate anymore, even if you keep casting skills. So unless you die or you have a crux spender, you won't be getting favor of this passive. This is a good passive. Is increasing in spell damage by 5% every time you restore Magicka, and you are restoring stamina and Magicka every time by your skills. Some of them have the regeneration part, and your potions as well. So you can keep advantage for 10 seconds of this passive as well. For these sets, Bloodspawn is a very good set to have on the Arcanist because you want to keep spamming your barriers because they are very powerful. And when you take damage, you have a 6% chance of generating 13 ultimate and having the resistance by almost 4,000. And this is a good set to have when you have a lot of damage incoming. You are allowed to be in the AoE to keep receiving damage to proc the set. Is a very good practice to have. Always keep receiving damage to proc the set. Is a very nice ult generation when we have a lot of ult generation building in our group. So you can take advantage of the Arcasis sets every 30 seconds, restoring 44, 43 ultimate, and this every 5 seconds, restoring 13. And your barrier casting costing less because of the Arcanist passive, the intricate rune forms, and the shield master reducing your cost a lot. Being a vampire level 3 will increase by 8%, but even then your ultimate is around 220. It's not the cheapest, but it's really powerful, so always keep an eye on your ultimate when you have it. And for the other set we have is Sex Heal. So in the order of casting in our raid, Sex Heal is the first for casting. I don't remember if we have another. Let me see. I think it's the Sorc. Yeah, the Sorc. So between Sorc and Arcanist, they are the Sex Heal. So one of the other cast first. So if you are the cheapest barrier, is the Sorc we have at 209, I think, my tool tip. So this will cover by 14 seconds. This is more than enough to enter in breach and have the other Sex Heal cast your barrier after that. So you can have the uptime for minor force, increasing your critical damage by 20% for the entire push. And after the buff goes off, the first person that casted barrier have it already to cast it again. So this is a cycling, very nice cycling in the timing we have. The next one is the Nightblade. This class is most focused in the roller healing, since we have Soul Siphon as the main ult. In the logs, they won't be at first, but this is a lot of the overhealing ability of the Nightblade we have. So this doesn't come unnoticed in the rate we feel when they are casting Soul Siphon. Our health goes up a lot, 18,000 by this tooltip, and another almost 50,000 for over 4 seconds. This is a very cheap ult, and this heals a lot. This is the main part of the healing ability of the Nightblade in their R raid, allied with the Echoing Vigor. This heal a lot, so always keep it up and be conscious of the casting as well. If the shield is good covered, but you are seeing people dipping down in health, so you are free to cast this. This set for the Nightblade is transmutation. So this is a very nice synergy with the healing ability of the Nightblade, having the critical resistance up for 5 seconds when you heal over time ability. And for the passives, I want to go over the Catalyst one. So after drinking a potion, you gain 20 ultimate. This is a very nice passive to have when we have downtimes in the raid. So if you are hanging the keep, almost waiting for the other push, you can keep using potions to restore at least 20 ultimate if we are not in combat. If we are in combat getting sieged but not engaging as well, you can recover 63 using our cases. But if we have downtime or at least running between sieges, between keeps, you can chug a potion in your back bar. Not the Health Alliance one because they have the invisibility part. So this will get you dismounted. So you can change for normal potions or the magical one. The healing skills of the Nightblade, we have Healthy Offering. This is a health cost skill, and this will give you minor mending, increase your healing done by 8% for 10 seconds. So use this, and this will power up all your other healing skills. Siphoning as attacks is a good magical restoring skill. So this lasts for 20 seconds, and this will restore your magicka by 106 every second is up. So if you recast it, if it is up for 10 seconds, restore the half of the potential it has. And if it times out, we'll restore the full potential. So this is a really nice. Yeah, this is the for 20 for 4200 in the healing, the stamina healing. This is a really nice skill to have, restoring your magicka. And then you have refreshing path. This is a crutch if you don't have the rapids going up a lot. So we have at least the major expedition going for the area of the refreshing path for the people that already don't have it covered by the rapids build. And this is a good healing over time skill to have as well. In the RAM, you can cast refreshing path and healing sprigs, and then keep your radiated regeneration and echoing vigor in your healing rotation. And different for the other builds, we have Mirage being your major evasion skill. This is a unique skill in the Nightblade build. So this is used instead of Quick Cloak. This is good because you can have the major evasion and minor resolve, and this will reduce the roll dodge cost as well. For this set, I already said the transmutation, and the other part is season, I already covered. Let me see in the passive. This Magical Flood is a good passive. You don't need to think, it's just increasing your max magicka by 8%. When you have a siphoning skill slotted, this will increase your back bar magicka. Healy done. This will. Oh, this you have a soul siphon here as well, so this will increase on both bars, and you have 3% healing done added for front bar, and 6% because you have those two skills. Transfer is a really good ultimate generator as well. You regenerate 2 ultimate every second by casting skills, so this will be up every time, every 4 seconds. This is a noticeable part in your regen tab in the logs, you can see. And your main skill for burst is the Blessing of Restoration, always casting the crown when they're going over the damage point. You can cast it preemptively, echoing vigor and refreshing path while they pass you, and then cast healing springs in the damage point, and then start to cast Blessing of Regeneration to always heal every damage they can get. The other the other build we have is the Sork. This is a really nice class we have. They are the cheapest berry casting. They are at 209. They can cast it a lot. They are the first or third berry casters in our cycling barriers. Their healing ability of the Parsage is incredible. Is really nice to have. It's 33-second duration, so you don't have to have that much thought on recasting. But this is a very noticeable healing part of your kit. This will increase your Major Sorcerer as well by the same amount of seconds. And this is I can't stress enough how good this skill is, because you can heal a lot without casting it. It's a really nice passive heal. Dark Conversions is your main source of restoring magicka when you are struggling with casting a lot or bursting a lot. You can go back bar and cast Dark Conversion once or twice and go back to your normal rotation. And Balded Edges is really nice to have the magic increase by 8% just being slotted. It's by either bar, so you can get this effect in front bar as well. For the passives, this is the main part of the potential of casting barriers a lot. The Power Stone reducing your ultimate cost by 15%. We don't have summons. This reduce the cost. Exploitation. This is a really nice to have as well. So even if you don't have resource problems, this is a really nice skill to have it up because of the exploitation passive. This will increase for the entire group Minor Prophecy, increasing your spell critical by 1500 for 20 seconds. Most people don't know about it. It makes a difference on your crit as well if you have it up. If you have it up most of the time of your raid. Stormcaller. This will increase magical recover. This is passive. This will increase your spell damage by 20%. It's 2% because of the Passage in back bar. And for this sets we have Bloodspawn. As I said, be on damage when you can take the damage, so you can recover the ultimate. Sexy, as I said, you have for at least 14 seconds and can go up to, I don't know, I didn't make the count for 500 divided by 15, but this is more than enough for the entire push. For the next one is the Templar. I like this build a lot. Templar is my main character, my main class, and the difference of the Templar is you can have the Radiant Aura. You are the main source of these minor buffs, minor magicka, health, and stamina recovery by 15%. This is up for 60 seconds, so you can keep this easily at least 9% of uptime the entire raid if you cast every 60 seconds, or going down in seconds to cast in different people. If people are not grouped, you can cast twice between every 6 seconds. But this is a really nice skill to have up all the time. And the other good part of the healing is the extended ritual. This is the main part of the Purify in group. We only have one Templar in group, and you are the only Purify caster in group. So if every 20 seconds is the cooldown for every synergy, you can cleanse the harmful effects for everyone every 20 seconds if they cast if they hit synergy Purify. And this will cleanse for you as well. So every time you cast, this will clean 5 harmful effects on you. So don't have 2 or 3 oils on you. Cast it and recast it. Have it this all the time when we are grouped. And even in movement, it's nice to have go in front of group a little bit, cast it, and this will clean the harmful effects like the elemental drain. I don't remember the elemental drain that goes for 30 seconds and keeps proccing on you. You can clean the plague break. It's really nice. If it is a really nice radius, so if people have plague break, they can go off a little bit of the group, cast Purify, and go back again. The other skill is the Ritual Rebirth. This is your main burst. It costs a lot, but this will return a lot of health for people. This can cast on 6 people inside of your radius and 1 additional member outside of your radius. So this will go really nice in your healing potential. Always cast it in rams when we are every time we need, basically. This is a really nice skill to have. And Channel Focus is your magical return, and this will increase your physical and spell resistance, but this is your main magical return. This in the logs you can see the potential in magical returning, and this will heal for a little bit if you are inside the zone. You can be this solar prison at times when crowd needed, but most of your wood will be using by replenish because your front bar, because you need to proclaimia. So if even if you don't have solar prison here, if you have barrier for both bars, even if the back bar barrier is stronger because of the swords, the horned swords, is basically you need to be in front bar to cast because you need to proclaimia. And the other set we have is Symphony of Blades. This will restore if people are under 50% of the primary resource. And the other set is Lamia. Our case is okay. For the passives, Prism, if we had the other skills, but this will generate ult if you cast Solar Prism, but not as good. Minor sorcery for the entire group, this is good. Increase your spell damage. If the other classes don't have covered for this, the Illuminate passive is a really nice. If you have room for it, you can go for the other AoE skill. I don't remember the name, but if you can fit back bar here, if you don't need Blinding Flare, you can slot it here and have the minor sorcery for the entire group every 20 seconds. And these are the staple passive for the Templar Demanding. If you are inside the here Sacred Ground, if you are inside the zones that you cast from Cleansing Ritual and rune focus. Cleansing ritual is this one, standard ritual, and the focus one is channel focus. You are gaining minor mending the entire time when you are inside of them, and after 4 seconds after you leave it. It's really nice. Passive and mending will just go up by 12% the healing potential depending of the the health of the other person. You can restore ult if people are under 50%, and you are the faster resing class, increased by 20% here, and we have the support by 30% for everyone in this passive as well. But since combining this with the master ritualist, you are the fastest one. So if you have the chance to res people, you are the fastest, unless we have the necro covered. The necro is a key part of our build because of the pillars set. The necro have a really nice ultimate regeneration inside of the passives. I'll go over in a bit. And allied with the pillages, they can keep up even if they don't have the pillagers in group getting hit. So they can keep up being hit without not being hit by the pillagers after you cast it. You are casting in front part, so is the replenish barrier. You can go up to 100. I don't remember this exactly, but this will go, yeah, up to 100. You can gain 20 ultimate every 2 seconds for 10 seconds. So this is a really nice if you can hit a lot of people. The necro, we use the pillager add-on, so it's a really nice reminder every 45 seconds. This is the cooldown of this set. This is a different timing of our potion cooldown, so this is a really nice slowing down type of healing, because you don't cast every 30 seconds. You need to keep up at 45 and try to hit a lot of people to get pillagers. And depending of our raid, you need to have it saved for the resing ult. So at the moment one person died, stop casting ult, start saving for the res, because this is a really nice mentality to have. Stop everything the shielding, but try to have it much quickly as possible to have the other person up. So because we need everybody up for the chemistry of our group, we need it's really noticeable when we don't have in our raid the full comp. So for the sets, I already said the pillages, Arcasis is already covered, and Bloodspawn, as I said, BO damage to recover ultimate. For necro skills, your main skills are Enduring Death. This is your main burst. You can burst from range and our area, so this is a really nice to be outside of the damage point and be spamming this on crown, so they can have a lot of health back for 6 people. And if there are corpses around, it will leave the AoE effect on the ground to heal over time for 5 seconds, and 5 seconds additional for each corpse consumed. The necrotic potency is a really nice skill to have. The passive for it is just reducing the damage taken, and another part of it is the Death Gleaming passive. While you have a Bone Tyrant ability slotted, you gain stamina and magicka back when people die around you. So if we are good in raid, you are getting a lot of magic and stamina back, and you can feel all your skills in your rotation. For the active part is the granting ultimate when you consume a corpse for 6 ultimate back and a little bit of health, but this is not really noticeable because you'll be full health almost all the time. This is for the ultimate back, and this is allied with the corpse consumption passive. This will increase on top of your 6 ultimate per corpse, per cast. I mean, for no, I think it's per corpse. Yeah, per additional corpse, and 10 ultimate on top of it every 16 seconds. So this is a really nice passive to be aware of, along with the Spirit Guardian, because after he dies, or if you request every 8 seconds, because you can regenerate our corpse at half duration. So if 8 seconds passes, you cast it again, you cast another spirit, and the old one will be a corpse, so you can consume with the Necrotic Potency and restore 16 ultimate of this cast. If you go again after 8 seconds, you get 6 back, and then you can get the other 10 after 16 seconds. So this is a really nice practice to be during combat and off combat, because you can go up in ultimate not needing to be in combat. So if you seeing this passive here, Corruptive Curse, you gain healing done by 8% if you have a negative effect on you, and this is basically the entire raid. You have negative effects on you. You don't need to cleanse right away using the Purify synergy. You don't have a cleanse in your kit, so you need to rely on the Templar for it. So this is a really nice balance to have a negative effect on you and then cleanse using Purified Synergy. Let me see the other ones. Here, this is a really nice Undead Confederate. You gain health, magicka, and stamina back recovery, 200, while you have your Mender on. So this is a really nice to have all the time, because on top of the regeneration, you gain the damage absorption, 10% damage absorption by the Guardian. So you get tankier here as well. Let me see. I think we have another. Yeah, here. This member passive. Oh no, I thought it wasn't the. No. This is damage taken by damage time ability. Yeah, you can gain the disdain harm if you have the Necrotic Potency healing part. You can gain 15% damage reduction for the damage over time abilities, or if you can have the summer armor in your back bar or front bar if you need. But if you want to add another skill, I would suggest Braided Tether if you don't need Blinding Fair on both bars. But at least for the Necro, I would suggest to keep as is, because it's a really nice mix of offensive and defensive, getting the major protection on both bars. But if you don't feel that you need whole time you can have the braided tether. This is a really nice range use of the corpse consumption. You can gain 10 ultimate back on range if you cast the braided tether going off to another point. So if you don't have the range to use necrotic potency, you can use the braided tether by range and have at least 10 ultimate back, and will increase your healing done by 3% just for being slotted as well. So you can have in the front bar or back bar, it doesn't matter, because this will increase your during on death or your Echoing Vigor skill. I think this is what I needed to go over. If anyone have a question about a singular build of healing playstyle.
Yeah, definitely encourage anybody who is getting into healing in either of our groups to ask away any questions that you have. You have, you know, the great Alan here, and basically you'll get the best answer that that anyone is going to give you. You'll get from him.
So, from Nightblade's perspective, how do you go about starting off your rotation? Like, do you just go with Healthy Offering, considering the buff that it gives you, then the rest of like all your healing stuff?
Yeah, but Health Offering is a really quick skill. You just have it up for 10 seconds. I like to have this on my front bar because I can cast more easily and cast the Health Offering, put my Healing Sprigs and Refreshing Path, start using Radiating Regeneration 2 or 3 times, a burst, and go back bar for the Echoing Vigor and Siphoning attacks, and mirrors if needed. So I go by this rotation.
Okay, so you keep it on the front bar, not the back. Gotcha.
Yeah, for me, I like it better to have it the front. So if I have this here, this frees up a skill to have, and this will go along with Energy Orb. This is a really nice skill to have. Let me see if I remember here which build I think was in the Arcanist. Yeah, because of the Arcanist, the main focus of the skills are from Chakram and Echoing Vigor. The other skills are here not for the healing impact, but for your sustain and for the other sustain. So you can cast Healing Springs to, you can see in the bottom part, increase magical recovery by 15 for each target affected, stacking up to 20 times. This is a really nice magical recovery skill. And Energy Orb for the others, they can hit the Healing Combustion synergy and get amount of health and magical restoring. And the Reconstructive Domain, you can have the heal as well. So, and the Minor Intellect part. So if it doesn't get covered by your Templar, for every 6 seconds for this buff, you can have here as your magical recovery part. So these 3 skills are really nice for recovering your other skills.
They're also really good. Like the Nightblade has the most heal over time skills on it.
Yeah.
And that's because you really need to have a ton of those running to get, as consistent as we can uptime on Transmutation, because Transmutation is a quirky set that kind of, with our emphasis on shielding, we kind of suppress the highest values that we could get out of that, simply because it requires like real damage to be healed by you in order to proc. And so that's why like you need to have basically as many possible opportunities to get in a healing tick of damage when somebody takes damage, because between the shields and 6 other healers healing them, like, you know, it really is kind of a dice roll chance if you're going to be the one to get that heal in to proc the set. So like when you're in movement, laying down your refreshing path is very nice and very easy because you can just like simply tap the button. Like it requires no aiming or much thought. It just you know, fires out in front of you, and the entire group will be in that hot simply by following the crown.
Mm-hmm. And for Soul Siphon, we have a really good synergetic part for the major vitality, increasing by your healing received by 16% for 4 seconds. This will increase all of your skills and other healers' skills as well. So if everyone gets this buff for 4 seconds, the healing increase is go ups a lot. This will be the deciding factor for surviving a bomb. So if you are quick with your reflex, you can cast it right when we start receiving damage. We can get a high burst and 4 seconds of the health over time. Is a really nice skill to use. And for I wanted to cover the Undaunted command passive as well, because most people can forget about this one. For the health, stamina, and magical recovery, we have the 4% of your max stats every time you hit a synergy. So in our group we have a lot of synergies we can take. We have the energy orb, your main resource, and purify. Let me see here, and the budding seeds, the harvest synergies. So even if you don't need the heal, you can always hit the synergy button to receive the resource back. Really
Yeah, that's
nice.
a really oh god, sorry.
Yeah, this is a really nice mentality to have.
Yeah, the like a lot of times when new players begin playing in the group, and this is sort of true across the roles, but since, you know, we're on the topic of healing, just talk about the healers, that a lot of times people's first instinct will be like, how do I sustain on this? And the answer to that is complicated and involves doing several things. But once you master them all, then like, you know, trust any of the, you know, experienced healers that have been here a while. Like sustain is perfectly doable, even when casting huge amount of, you know, skills over the course of a raid. But one of the big things that when somebody says like, I'm having trouble struggling on X class, um, you know, one of the big things that like separates kind of that person's sustained struggle versus like a more experienced healer, more comfortably sustaining, is precisely what Alan was just talking about. It's grabbing every synergy that you possibly can, being like as greedy for the synergies as possible. Not trying to take the damage ones, of course, those are from the DDs. But you know, all of the non-damage synergies, just like gobble them up constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And
Inside of group and outside, you can get
yeah,
the bone shield synergy if other uses the necro. I don't remember the name.
yeah,
I think at the beginning of my healing days, I was overcasting,
yeah, that's
casting too
definitely
much. Or now I'd lose my sustain.
Yeah, you
can
just
be an
be
issue. But
mindful of your rotation buffs. You really need to pay attention of your main class buffs. It's your responsibility because we only have one class per healing slot, so you need to hit your frost cloak on your warden. You need to have igneous weapon on your DK. You need to have the construction domain for minor courage on your arcanist. For the Nightblade is good for minor mending and my major vitality for Soul Siphon. The Sork Power Surge is amazing heal effect. Darker version, as I said, for the exploitation passive, for the Minor Prophecy for the entire group. You need to keep up. Radiant Aura on Templar and the Extended Ritual for Purify Synergy for the entire group. And Necro, you'll be at your own minigame gaining out from Necrotic Potency and Spirit Guardian for the entire raid, on, in, and outside combat.
Yeah, I think most people probably know this, but like the reason why we have 7 healing classes isn't just, you know, to make sure that every class is represented just, you know, out of like a moral stance or something, or, you know, to give players as many opportunities to get in on a healer as they can, depending on what classes they have access to. Those are kind of like nice extra effects, but the real purpose is exactly what Alan just said. The real purpose is because each of the healing classes brings a unique class buff or skill or something unique that none of the other classes can provide. And so that's why like fulfilling those particular things are so important, because, you know, if you're not doing that, then it's like you could be playing that healer on any class. Like, you know, if you're not on the DK and casting Molten Armaments and Fragmented Shield for major and minor brutality, then like 1, the raid is significantly weakened, but 2, then it's like, you know, why have a DK there at all? It could just be another Sork or something like that. So kind of identifying those features as Alan has, and really zeroing in on them as you play them to make sure that you're really kind of, you know, getting the most out of the build and fulfilling the purpose of the build and the class in the overall bigger picture.
Yeah, and most of the things I said here is in the healing guide. It's pinned in the training in Discord, so I don't know if all the parts, as I said, are updated here, but most of the parts and passives and rotation is said here in the pages for every class we have. As I go over for here.
You know, Alan, could you go over your thought process that you use as you're fighting another ball group? Like, what are you doing when you're just running around? What are you doing when you're stacking? What do you do if the group gets stuck?
If we are going to be stacked, I want to be in the closer area of the group, but not in the center, along with the crown. We have different classes. For example, in the Templar, the most valuable part here is the Ritual of Rebirth, that is only at 10 radius, but you can hit for the outside group as well. But for this case, you just need to be preemptively casting Vigor and Healing Springs and Radiating Regeneration, and then Ritual of Rebirth, being outside of the group. For the other classes, we have better skills such as Enduring Death, casting on the group, but you want to be, if Crown is the person, you want to be around in the edge of the group, but not in the center, because you don't want to be counterattacked by another pull. If we get pulled, it's just to have the reflex to break free, roll dodge, and cast your burst, and parry if you have it. It's always nice to have the UI showing shields. So if you go over the group, you can see the shielding. If half of the group doesn't have shield or they are getting hit in the health, you can cast barrier preemptively to have at least because barrier is a really long cooldown. real long duration. I mean, 30 seconds is more than enough to have another up. And since we, by single person, you can have it up for by 30 seconds or less. The other person can cast in less seconds, 5 or 6 seconds after, and then we can go over each class casting and have this max barrier every 5 seconds if we rolling barrier in our attack. Going after organized groups, ball groups, you need to pay attention. You need to sparse the barriers more and have at least one or two saved for the counter attack, or be the good reflex one to have it up and save the counter push. The main thought process.
Yeah, picking up on that, the idea of like the reflexive or mitigating barrier to like an incoming stack on, you know, you in the group is the most important thing. Like that's, especially for really good groups, having somebody in the group that, you know, doesn't get CC'd and has really quick reflexes and also has good positioning. So like all those things that Alan was talking about being like, you know, close to crown, but not too close to crown that you're going to get, you know, sucked up in the stack. And then you need to, the very first thing, you just got to cast that barrier, because the group, if they don't get a barrier, they don't get like a soul siphon or preferably both of those things, like they're going to die, because the amount of burst that a good group can deliver in just 1 or 2 seconds is more than, you know, the collective burst healing that the rest of the group can do. So if you are kind of like that person who you're saving your barrier for when the push comes, you also kind of want to make sure that you also haven't consumed your removable yet, because that'll give you the best chance to be able to actually get your barrier off. It'll mean that you can't get pulled. And then at that point, since you're wearing snow treaders, you also can't get snared or immobilized. So the only thing, literally the only thing standing between you and casting your barrier is then being caught underneath a negate. And hopefully that will be solved by what Alan mentioned of being close to crown, but not stacked on crown.
Yeah,
And if you do all those things, you can get your barrier off real comfy, and the group, you know, the rest of the healers will then burst heal, and the group will survive.
yeah, and most of the more than half of our classes have the long burst. So for the warden, we have Enchanted Grove with a 20 meters radius, along with the decay for the Blessing of Restoration, 20 meters as well. The Nightblade, same skill, 20 meters. Sork as well, and the Necromancy with the AoE long distance, 28 meters to hit 6 people. This is a really good skill, so you can be far from the damage point, but close enough to cast these skills and be effective healing the crown and the other DDs as well.
But it's very like that moment of truth comes quickly, and like you really got to be, I mean, it helps if you're panning the camera around as you play so that you have like a good grasp on what's happening on the battlefield. Hopefully you can see an opposing group coming at you, so it doesn't just like, you know, come from off screen into a stack into a bomb. Kind of like learning to read the flow of groups as they attack you, because it's never really random. Every group has like a style that they'll attack you with, and learning to anticipate that and when a bomb is likely will then give you the best opportunity to be the one, or hopefully one of several healers that are able to respond to it. And it's 1 second, 2 seconds at the most is all you have. Otherwise, it's done.
And as a healer, we are a lot rely on in the crown commands. So they need to say the thought process in the movements, so we can plan our placements of range skills and our movement as well, and we can get the surrounding enemies in our mind, the position of them without the needing to be looking, so we can have the most part of our group in the camera in our playing view. So we need to rely a lot on the in the crowd commands as well to say where you are going to be pushing, where you need to be pulling, so we can place the range skills such as the healing springs, enduring death, the budding seeds. You can place the damage push preemptively if the crown says where he thinks to stack. Any more questions?
Is there a way we can go and just go back to the Warden Healer page?
Yeah, this is the one. What about it?
Now, as far as for I guess a rotation for the Warden as he's moving with the group.
Yeah, for the first skill I try to cast is always expensive Frost's Cloak to have the major resolve for the entire group. This is a really nice radius, 36 meters for 20 seconds. So this is the first skill, and then Echoing Vigor. So this is casted when you are close to the crown, and when they are start moving and you go take your distance from crown and they start to push for the damage point, so you cast your enchanted growth for the minor intellect and endurance if you don't have it covered by the Templar. So this lasts for 20 seconds, and this can proc as well the maturation and the maturation for minor toughness passive, and then start casting your radiated regeneration 2 or 3 times, and then place your healing springs and budding seeds in the damage point. For the other skills in the back bar, you can have the blue battery up all the time for 25 seconds, and shimmer shield when you anticipate taking damage. So this is a really nice shield and ult back. And always keep the quick cloak for the major evasion every 30 seconds. So this is the main healing part, and the buffs parts getting covered in your rotation.
Yeah, the quick cloak and the major evasion also, it applies for everybody equally, basically. That a ball group only deals AoE damage, so if you don't have that up and you're fighting another ball group, you're taking 20% more damage, which is double, you know, that's like 2 major vulnerability like stacks if they did stack against you. Absolutely like obscene more damage you're going to be taking versus people who do have that major evasion up. And I don't want to like overwhelm anybody with information or about like, you know, how high the skill cap goes for like really strong healers, but like for rotations, basically as a healer, it's not an exaggeration to say that you're casting an ability every second for every second that you're in combat for the entirety of the raid. So that's way more that's way more actions than a support is going to take. That's way more actions than a DD is going to take. It's very, you know, can be taxing on the hands, I know. everybody tends to be tired at the end of them. And basically, if you're healing and you go for several seconds without casting an ability, then like the longer that you heal, the shorter that time duration will be, and it will kind of like set an alarm off in your head of like, I should be like, there is an action that I could be taking right now to make life easier for me several seconds in the future. So whether that means refreshing your vigor or refreshing your radiating regens or reapplying your buff skills, like you don't need to be spam casting Frost Cloak or anything like that, but typically you can fill a lot of those otherwise seconds in combat that you don't. You might think that like, my rotation is completely fulfilled right now, but you can probably squeeze in a few more radiating regens because it really is hard to keep that up on the entire group all of the time.
Yeah, you really need to take advantage of the duration of your skills. They have a duration. This fits the rotation nicely. So if you cast all your skills, if you have space to cast more, you can cast more vigor for different parts of the group. The real nice vigor castings are Seiken and James. They cast 2 or 3 times every rotation, so you can really see the impact of this skill in their healing overall. But the first part, if you are reviewing logs, go to the buff section and review your buffs first. So if you are getting that covered nicely, now you need to rethink the amount of casting for each skills you have, depending of the impact they have in the raid. So first part is buff, then you can go for the healing and shielding skill cast amounts. Yeah. And as Yandra said, the amount of times the healer needs to be active is incredibly high. You can see in the logs in the cast tab, almost always the time the healers are on top, and we just need to keep pushing the uptime for the buffs for try to reach 100%. It's not possible because we have a lot of downtimes, but at least the needed part when we are in combat, we need to be very mindful of our role. So keep the buffs and then healing and then shielding.
Can you go over the Arcanist rotation?
Yeah, for the Arcanist, is basically have your buffs up for the Cruxweaver Warmore and Domain if we are standing or just passing, because
Yep. Where should I drop that?
This drops around you, so if you are close to the crown, drop it. But this will only last for the amount that you are in the group. So depending of the position we have, this we can only have take advantage for this part while standing.
So I should drop that before like we go into a keep. Like before barrier or something like that.
It's not really needed. Yeah, it's cool to have because this increase the buffs, but this won't last after you leave the radius. So the main parts is to cast vigor 2 or 3 times. The inside of root, as we are prepared to go on, cast Healing Spring, so this will go up in the magical return, and then start spamming the chakram. This is your main role. This is a really nice skill. This hits up to 4 people every cast, So you need 3 casts to hit all, but this can hit as well 4 people that already have a shield, and this will grow 30% stronger. And these are consumed first before barrier, so that's why in the logs we see this number takes even higher than barrier casts at times, because this is consumed first. So the main part is spamming when needed after the buffs are covered. So quick cloak, echoing vigor 2 or 3 times. You can cast this for major resolve if the warden doesn't have it up every 20 seconds. So we can have this one, let me see, for 30 seconds, and then start spamming chakram and barrier. That's not much for this build.
Yeah, for the reconstructive domain, just put that basically anywhere that the group stops.
Mhm.
So if we're sieging, put it on the ram or wherever we're sieging from. If we're running into a keep and stopping on the back flag, put it on the back flag as soon as you get there. Basically anywhere that the group camps out for more than, a couple seconds, or anticipates to be for more than a couple seconds, just put it down, because
Yeah, this will last 20 seconds and heals for 1,000 every second. So
Mhm.
this builds up with the other heal over time abilities.
Okay, got
This
it.
go up for every healer. If you layer all your hots, the final result is incredibly high if you can keep everything up combined. So for this case, you have 1,000 here, 2,000 here for the healing springs, 1,000 here for echoing vigor, 2,000 every 1 second. So this builds up for a lot for only one healer. So if all healers do the same, this is a lot of healing combined every second.
The Arcanist support is dropping Xena's diff, the other version of that, while we're running, which gives it to you for 10 seconds after you run through it. So you don't have to stress out that much about it on the go, because that one only really works when you're standing still on it.
Okay, I understand now. Because that was my biggest question, is where to drop that. I was like randomly dropping it when we were standing still, but it makes more sense now.
Yeah, always have it up with your standing, so it has a 20 seconds duration, so you don't need to overcast it, but always recast when we move to different positions. But also don't stress out on the move, because of this particular skill doesn't last long after leaving. This is covered by this support, as the other person said.
I just have a question. And a few times I was able to run with the ball group, I hear the command proct. What is that basically preparing us for?
As a healer, that's not so much a cue for you. That's the under Alliance War, the skill proxy detonation.
Oh, okay, that one. Okay.
Yeah. So it's basically the lead is signaling to the DDs on when to synchronize their casting of that ability, so that 8 seconds from then they all go off at the same time when they're actually trying to deal their damage.
So like on the Arcanist, here is what I've been doing is when they say procs, I hit the armor, vigor twice. And then as we're going in, I hit the swords.
Yeah.
And then I go back to my crucifix or crux.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
Like that. Yeah, but the main queue is for DDs, but
Right.
is good for preparing for the push, so you can
Mhm.
cast these skills for the duration of the push. 30 seconds is more than enough for going in, doing damage and retrieving. So doing that, you can preemptively doing this, cast your berry since you are the sex heal, you can go first, and then start spamming chakram for shielding on top of it. So it's really nice doing that. And even if the movement, the people that have energy orb is really nice to cast it, because in the RDK we have a synergy window. If we can configure for every ability that we have a synergy, you can see how many people are proccing this synergy. The cooldown is for 20 seconds, as I said, for every synergy. So you can see if people are not using this synergy, you can cast it on the move, and you can see in the window the names coming up after they proc this synergy. For on the move is really nice because healers are casting all the time, so if they see, they'll proc this one for the magical return, for this 4000 part, and the undoubted passive as well. This increase it additively. Any other build question?
So regarding vigor, is it better to cast it 2 or 3 times, or is it just based on coverage? Like, should you be closer to the group while doing that kind of stuff?
It's based on coverage. This hits 6 people, so to get full coverage, you can cast it twice, but not all the times you are within the 12 people for you hit back to back. So you can sparse going half rotation and then cast vigor again. I'm not that good of double or triple casting, but I just see if this ability isn't on cooldown. I cast it again, so it hits another 6 people. So it based in the feeling, you can cast in the beginning of rotation, then the middle. It's really nice. I think thought to have, because you can renew the duration if you hit the person again for 16 seconds. And this will combine for every person hitting Echo Viewer, so it's not a single buff. So every person that has this one, they can combine. Every healer has, and supports have this one as well.
And I'll mention the incredibly important Foresight passive before, and that applies not just to your magic skills, but also to your stamina healing skills, so vigor.
Yes.
So, like, if you're going to be on your back bar for when you take your Arcasis pot anyway, and so then it's real easy to get at least one of those, but potentially 2, depending on if you're. I think Alan's way probably is the best way to do kind of halfway through the rotation to double cast, but sometimes just depending on the nature of the fight, you just want to pop it off twice right there at the start of your rotation. Then you can do that basically for free right after you take your potion, and it won't really touch your stamina values. And with your stamina values, like casting vigor as frequently as is kind of safe to do it. And so what does safe mean? Safe basically means like don't cast an additional vigor if that's going to drop your stamina that you have remaining to like a dangerous level, to like a level where you won't have enough stamina to break out of basically a stun or something should that happen to you. Because you're on a healer, your stamina pool isn't giant like a DD's is. So if you do kind of find yourself casting too many vigors when you're kind of under 50% stamina. Like casting 1 is fine, 2, and you can cast as many times basically as you want if you have foresight up. But if it's going to take you down to like 20% stamina, then that becomes very dangerous. And so if that's your choice of like cast vigor and it will take me down to dangerous levels of stamina, or just kind of like skip that one cast for this one time in my rotation, then like it's fine to skip it, because you not getting stunned and not being able to break out and then dying is a way bigger downside than just missing one cast of vigor.
Yeah, and especially for the swords, we have here in the back bar 3 stamina skills. So we have Quick Cloak, Echoing Vigor, and Dark Aversion. So you need to be mindful of the usage and your stamina pool. So you need to take advantage of a lot of the foresight for these skills.
Yeah, that's also why most of the builds have the Serpent Mundus. You might see that on a healer and think that it's weird, but that's precisely why, because like you have a lot of sources of mag sustain, you have many fewer sources of stamina sustain, and running out of stamina in a fight is basically death.
Any more comments?
Saken, do you have any like tips you might be able to give the group? Maybe you can just type it in Guild Tavern or something like that. Anything that you can think of that either wasn't covered or something that you think would help, the healers.
I see Stratus lurking down there too, if there's anything you think we've missed.
No, I think
For me personally, I
covered everything really well.
For me personally, I just appreciate the fact that going over this, especially with the class I have, I was able to see the best recommended skills to utilize. I did make some changes already, so this has been very informative as far as how I can improve myself in my class as a healer.
Yeah, definitely. It's really nice practice going before the raid, taking a look of your passives. This will give you ideas of how to cast better, and these not so on your face buffs, such as the Downs Ref gaining minor sorcery for the entire group. You can make adjustments to get this buff covered as well. For the Templar, for the Sorks, we have exploitation, as I said. So this is a really nice practice to have to see what your skills do. Read the tooltip. Reading the tooltip and see the duration and radius. This will make your decision making in the raid better, I think.
Yeah, it definitely helped me optimize my character and my tune.
It's really nice as well to see the ultimate cost for your class during raid with your champion points buffs, passives, and the vampire negative effect as well, so you can see the number. So during raid you can plan when the number is coming up to hit a barrier or save your potions. Because of the Arcasis give so much ult back, you can hold a little bit of your proc or your potion proc to cast your barrier and then go back bard and hit the potion to get the full advantage of the ult return.
Yeah, that's a really, really strong point that Alan makes there about doing that maneuver. You do that, and it basically like it's almost like knocking down the cost of your ultimate by 44 if you're always casting your Arcasis right after you cast it, as you start basically at 44 ultimate rather than at 0 ultimate like you would normally.
Yeah, definitely. And a secret tip: always be closer Seiken. He'll be proccing Arcasis like crazy, so you get the return a lot.
So I do have a question about skill management while in transit when we're running around all over the place. What's your priority there with your ground hots? Like blessing, are you just trying to cast that in front of everybody so they can run through it, or what's your strategy there?
The blessing not so much because it's just a burst heal, but and it is always to have it nice.
Sorry, I mean healing springs. That's what I meant.
Yeah,
healing springs.
Yeah, it's good because even if people are not standing that a lot, even 1 or 2 seconds people stand, it will increase your stamina recovery. So this can fuel up your regen and echoing vigor while the moving. So this is a really nice 2 skills to have. Then casting energy orb once in a while to people return via synergy. You can take a look in the synergy pane window from RDK, and always really nice to have your defensive buffs up. So quick cloak, dark conversion for the exploitation, as I said, purge surge, incredibly good healing that you don't even need to think. This is a really nice buff for the spell damage as well. And then go for the overtime abilities for the radiated regen for the people that are not too close of you, and once or twice for echoing vigor for 16 seconds.
Sorry.
So that'll be like extra important on some of the classes, right? Like if you're the Nightblade, again, we talked about transmutation beforehand, but that's only proccing off of HOTs. So getting those HOTs on the group, even as the group is moving, gives you the best chances to proc it. Also, if you happen to be the DK who's wearing Ozazen, you don't even have to heal actual damage for that one, at least for the armor part. That is just like the more raw healing ticks or overhealing ticks that you can get on anybody, the better. And so, casting that healing springs where you can will give you the best chances to do that. I think that when you're kind of approaching a damage point, if you can drop like your healing springs basically from range on that spot, like right when Stratus stacks there, is a good maneuver, because both Stratus as well as all the DDs will basically be converging on that spot very soon. So giving them as much kind of passive background healing as they can while they're in that hot, oftentimes you're both dealing damage and absorbing lots of damage when you're there. Will give them the best odds to come out on top.
Yeah, definitely.
So during those high pressure moments when everybody's pulled together like that, after Stratus pulls everyone in and you've dropped your hots and your dots and everything, when that's all like ticking right there, which is crazy. At that point, do you want to turn and kind of spam Blessing of Protection into the group then to try to, because they're taking, especially Stratus, when you watch him go in, he's taking a huge amount of pressure.
Yeah, definitely. You have going up in the damage point, you have your Echoing Vigor, the main buffs for your class, 1 of 2 radiated version, and then put release springs in the damage point, and then starts spamming your burst for Blessing of Restoration for this one, Enchanted Growth for Warden, and the Enduring Death for Necro. Doing that for 3 to 4 seconds until the damage point dissipates, and then you go back to the normal rotation, going back to buffs and hots.
Yeah, like the HOTs, like Vigor, and all the ones that were just mentioned. Those are always, think of that as like preparation for preparation for something else. You do that in the background before a bomb takes place, so that all of those hots are up and ticking while a bomb is taking place. But while a bomb is taking place, how many times can I say that in 10 seconds? There's no time for casting HOTs at that point. It's only burst heals or your healing ultimate. And like Alan says, you want to, even if it looks like our DDs are winning, you still want to keep hitting them with blessing, because frankly, you never know what's going to happen. You never know if there is, a group that's going to come from off screen and blindside the group, or if there's a, 2 cloaked Nightblade bombers that are about to, go off right there on the stack. So as much healing as you have flowing into the damage point makes everybody that's in there on our side as resilient as they possibly can be. Anybody else?
All right, yeah, thank you, Alan.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. This is really good for improving the overall group performance and at least the player healing experience for everyone here.
Mm-hmm. And Alan's written guide remains stickied and remains an excellent resource that if you ever have questions, feel free to, direct them to our GM healers on the Discord. But otherwise, I'll actually, in addition to, do read everything that's in the GM healer guide.
All right.
All right,
Yeah, thanks again,
everyone.
Alan.
Yeah.
That was a lot of good
And that is-
information there.
Yeah. Thank you for taking the time to do all this.
And where's that filed, that sticky?
I think is in ball group training.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just check the sticky posts and there should be a link to it.
Thanks a ton. That was super helpful.
Yeah, thanks everybody for attending.
All right, I'll be off then. And if anyone needs to send a message to me, particularly with any question, I can respond later. Yeah, with no problem.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking for ball group training. Is that under the PvP information tag?
Let me find that for you real quick.
You have a recruit tag only. But I don't know the permissions for ball group training. Is there any other place we have in the Discord?
That is.
I wasn't sure if we could put a like PvP train info, but that's very general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is kind of paywalled in the, not actually paywalled, but in the other part of the server.
Loyalty walled.
Mm-hmm.
It's like don't be
Or the
spreading the
PvP
secret to
info.
the opposition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me. You've been to some raids, so I think maybe we can hook it up.
Thank you for your time, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alan. That was great.
Thank you, Alan.
Nice. Bye bye.
See you later, everybody.
That's it, guys.